Tutopia. Hope you're doing fine, and today we are going to learn about a chapter in physics called heat. Let's go to the chapter. So, we are going to do the lecture 1 today. What will we study today? Let's know about that. So, concept of hot and cold, definition of heat, unit of heat, definition of temperature, measurement of temperature, clinical thermometer, and a revision of all the things that we study today. So, a summary. Now, before knowing what is heat, we need to know what is hot and what is cold. Now, there is a table we can find out here, and in the table we see various objects, right? Some of the objects are hot and some of the objects are cold. Now, we need to find out or see which object is hot and which object is cold. So, let's find out. So, ice cream, is it hot? No, it is cold. So, we give a tick here. Tea, obviously it's hot. So, we put a tick under the hot column. Cold drink, it is cold. Maggie, Maggie is hot. Glowing bulb, have you tried touching a glowing bulb? It's hot. So, from these objects, we find that certain objects are hot and certain objects are cold. From this, we come to the concept called heat, right? So, going to the next slide, what is heat? You may question. First of all, we need to know that heat is a form of energy. So, the first point that we need to know about heat is it is a form of energy. So, it's a form of energy. What is the second point that we know about heat? It creates a sensation of warmth in a body. Suppose, think about a situation you are having fever. So, when you have fever, you feel that there is hotness in your body, right? So, it gives a sensation of warmth in a body. And what is the last point? Last point says that heat flows when there is a temperature difference between two bodies. What does that mean? So, heat flows from one body to another body when there is a difference in temperature of the two bodies. Let's come to another more deep area where we can cultivate heat. So, we know heat is a form of energy, right? And it produces a sensation of warmth, right? And what is the third point that we have learned? Third point says that heat flows from one body to another body when there is a temperature difference. Suppose, let us consider this is a body A. Clear? There is another body which is named as B, right? Now, A is at higher temperature. I will come to the basic definition of temperature later on, but we all know what temperature is. It is the measure of hotness of a body, right? So, A is at higher temperature and B is at lower temperature. Lower temperature. Now, from these two bodies, we find that there is a temperature difference between the two bodies, right? Now, heat will flow from a body which is at higher temperature to a body which is at lower temperature. So, this is actually the heat flow. So, heat always flows from a body which is at higher temperature to a body which is at lower temperature. This much is clear. Now, we need to know a little bit more about heat, that heat can be converted into different forms of energy, like heat can be converted to kinetic energy, right? Heat can be converted to mechanical energy, heat can be converted to electrical energy, and many more, right? Okay, coming to the next slide. Now, we have learned what is heat and what is the characteristics of heat. Now, we need to know what is the unit of heat, right? In SI system, the unit of heat is joule, and in CGS system, the unit of heat is calorie. So, what are the units? In SI system, the unit is joule, and in CGS system, the unit is calorie. Okay? SI means what? SI means International System of Units, right? It is also commonly known as metric system. Right? And we come to the next slide. Okay, so this is an experiment. What is the experiment here? We see there are 3 beakers, right? We name them, this beaker as A, the second beaker as B, and the last beaker as C, right? Now, in the 3 beakers, we put water of same quantity, but there's a difference. Here, it is cold water. I'm just writing cold, okay? Here, it is hot water. And this water is a mixture of the cold water and the hot water. So, I am writing here mixed. Right? Now, you have put your left hand in the cold water. Remember this, you have put your left hand in the cold water for say 2 to 3 minutes. You have put your right hand in the hot water again for 2 to 3 minutes, and after that, after putting your left hand in the cold water for 2 to 3 minutes and putting your right hand in the hot water for 2 to 3 minutes, you decide to put both your hands, this is the right hand and this is the left hand, in the mixed water, right? Now, what you feel? You will be feeling different for both the hands. Why? Because your left hand was earlier cold, right? Now it is dipped into a mixed water whose temperature is more than the temperature of this water. So this left hand is now feeling warm or hot. Clear? But this right hand was earlier hot. Now when dipped in the water, it feels cold. Now you will be amazed to find that it is the same water, but two hands are feeling differently. Why is it so? So, we are not getting a correct measurement of hotness or coldness. So, what can be done? We have to go to a new concept called temperature. To know that this particular water in the beaker has a certain temperature to it, so that we are not confused that it is hot or cold. We know accurately that this water in the beaker has a particular temperature. So what is temperature? I have mentioned it previously, but now this is the original definition. Temperature is the reliable measure. We need to know this is a reliable measure of hotness of an object, right? So, what can be said that if a body or an object is hot, temperature gives the measure how much hot the object is, right? Okay, I'll give the same example once again. Think you have fever, right? Now when you have fever, you feel very shattered and bad. How do you measure how much heat do you consume? Do your body consume? Remember, your mother gives a, what it is called? Coming to the next slide, it is called thermometer. So, thermometer is basically an instrument that measures temperature. I'll give that, I'll come to this first. Temperature is measured by a device called thermometer. I went to the next slide first because I was giving you the example on fever. So, the thermometer that measures our body temperature is known as clinical thermometer. There are various kinds of thermometers. We will discuss about some of them in the next class, or maybe today's class, we don't know. But one thing that we need to discuss is the thermometer that measures the body temperature. The body temperature, we call that thermometer as clinical thermometer. Let's see what it is. Okay, so this is a picture of a clinical thermometer, right? Now, what can we see in a clinical thermometer? So, the first thing that we can see that it is long, narrow and uniform glass tube is there, right? And on one side of the thermometer, there is a bulb. What it is? Bulb. And this bulb is filled with an element called mercury. So here it is, this portion is basically mercury, right? Now we see that there is a thin tube here which is known as the capillary tube. Why is this tube here? This tube is here so that the mercury flows inside the tube, right? What happens when this thermometer is put to a body contact? Then the mercury in the bulb, inside the bulb, expands and the mercury flows in this direction and it comes to a point which denotes the temperature of your body, right? So you can see there is a curvature here. Why is this curvature used? I'll discuss this later. But remember this question. So there's a kink or curvature here, okay? And this is the mercury level. It is coming to a number called 37. It's written, it is the normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now, this is all about clinical thermometer. Now, coming to the practical picture of a clinical thermometer, let's see what we can find out. Okay. So, this is the practical image of a clinical thermometer. Now, you will find out that the upper portion is the Celsius scale, right? So, these things, the calibration or however this is being done, this is in Celsius scale, and the lower portion is in Fahrenheit scale, right? Now, if I don't know you can see this or not, but I'll just try to draw this. Suppose this is the capillary tube and you have mercury here, and suppose this is your drawing, right? This is how you measure the temperature. Now, if this is 35, you will find that this is 35.5 and this is 36. So, if we want to get 1 degree more, so we need to travel this 10 calibrations, right? Similar for Fahrenheit scale also. This is 94 and this is 96, right? So this would be 95, right? So moving on to the next slide. Okay. Now it says a clinical thermometer reads temperature from. So it wants to know the range. You can say this is the range of a thermometer. Now, there is a question here. Which kind of clinical thermometer it is asking for? Is it Fahrenheit scale? Is it Celsius scale? Let's do the Celsius scale first. So, for Celsius scale. So, for Celsius scale, the thermometer range is from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Clear? And what is the normal body temperature in Celsius scale? It is 37 degrees Celsius. So, for Celsius scale, the range of temperature in a clinical thermometer is from 35 to 42 degrees Celsius, and the normal temperature of body is 37 degrees Celsius in Celsius scale. Okay, let's find out for the Fahrenheit scale. For Fahrenheit scale, the range of temperature is from 94 degree Fahrenheit to 108 degree Fahrenheit, right? And the average normal body temperature, can you say you know this? It is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So, for Fahrenheit scale, we find the range is from 94 to 108 degree Fahrenheit, and the normal average body temperature is from 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. Now, talking about clinical thermometer, there should be some precautions to be taken, right? What are the precautions? Number one, the thermometer should be handled with care, right? You should be handled with care. Okay. Next, what is the other point? You know how a thermometer is used for measuring body temperature. It is either put inside the mouth and under the tongue, or it's used inside an armpit. So, several people are using this same thermometer. So, we need to cleanse the thermometer. We need to make it disinfectant. So, it should be washed every time with solution. Right? Okay. What is the next point? It should not be under hot sun, or should not be in front of a furnace, or should not be made into a place where the temperature is too high, because the mercury may expand and it may break the walls of the thermometer. So, no sun, right? Okay. What are the other points? Other precautions of thermometer, one more precaution I'm going to tell you. The fourth precaution is it should not be hit to a hard substance. If it is hit by a hard substance, it may break, right? Okay. Now, one more thing I would need to discuss. Now, you would say that, ma'am, my mother has given me a glass of milk and I want to measure the temperature of the milk. Can I use the clinical thermometer? I'm using a short form CT. Clinical thermometer to measure a glass of milk which is hot? And the answer is a big no. Because clinical thermometers are only used to measure body temperature and not temperature of other objects. So you will say that how can we measure the temperature of other objects? We will deal with that in the next class. Okay. So here is the summary of what we have learned today. Number one, heat is a form of energy which produces sensation of warmth and flows when there is a temperature difference between two bodies, right? Heat energy can be converted to other forms of energy like, as I've said earlier, kinetic energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy, and many more, right? Okay, thermometer measures temperature, right? And the thermometer that measures our body temperature is known as clinical thermometer, right? And the clinical thermometer ranges from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius for a Celsius thermometer, right? And the normal body temperature of human body is 37 degrees Celsius in terms of Celsius. Okay. And the temperature range for a clinical thermometer in terms of Fahrenheit is 94 to 108 degree Fahrenheit. And in Fahrenheit, the average normal body temperature is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit, which is equal to 37 degrees centigrade or Celsius. And lastly, we have achieved to the point where it is said that do not use a clinical thermometer for measuring the temperature of any other object other than human body, right? And also keep the thermometer away from the sun or flame. Why? Because it may break. Okay? So, we have learnt a little bit or a lot about heat today. We will be learning about more on heat in the next coming classes or lectures. Till then, stay tuned to Tutopia live classes, and yes, don't forget to ask your questions because we'll be back after a short break with all your answers.